Hello, everyone. Welcome to Formula One 2025 and welcome to season 13, which I hope is not unlucky for, it's not unlucky for ALR. It could be unlucky for someone because sadly there has to be a loser and there also has to be a winner as well. Yes, we're going to go through all 80 runners and riders from this season's World Championships, where, of course, we got gold, silver, and bronze coming up. Then, of course, we've also had the return of the Event League, not the 100% now, it is the Event League, which I've got to remember about because I'm going to keep calling it 100%, don't I? But yes, it is the Event League with several different unique opportunities then for the Event League, which is going to be pretty cool indeed. By the way, but yeah, this is the Event League calendar. And of course, we've got 18 races rather than 20 races. Then on that calendar, I've got to zoom in a bit because my eyes not as good as they used to be. Then it will start a week later than in previous years. And of course, no, then this season, I mean, then so good stuff indeed. Of course, we got all different brilliant kinds of races and all that kind of jazz going on. Then, of course, we have, I think we have, of course, full wet weather. We have a couple of 50 percenters in this one. Of course, we've got dual races in there, which is pretty interesting. The mandatory two stops and all that kind of good, all that kind of jazz as well. So that is absolutely fantastic indeed. That really is indeed that 18 rounds for the event league, not the 100% league, which is I gotta remember, haven't I? Evening there to Delando, of course, returning back to gold. Then last season's silver runner-up. Cannot wait then. Stephen also returning back to ALR Grand Prix race as well in bronze. The Duke, who is my favourite to win silver. Then I'm cooked up. Oh no, sorry, I read that wrong. Good luck this season then. This should be fun. Then I'm cooked for this season, says Delando. Not as cooked as me, and I'm not even a chef. We have got Duke, Mr. Straight Line Speed. I'm not good at the corner, so as Nolsey has given us some ALR gifts, which is pretty cool indeed and fantastic stuff indeed. And also Luke Chapman as well. Very good stuff. But Mr. Rage and Marcus also got some. As has Cirrus Mushroom, which is, as usual, is very late, isn't he, to the first stream, which I'm absolutely disgraced by. Oh, I've still got the event calendar up. That's not good, is it? Right then, let's go to the real, not the real, let's go to the season calendar as well, shall we then? And there it is. And we got 20 races this season rather than the very foreshortened season last season of where we only had how many races did we have last season? 16 races it was. This season we've got 20 races on the calendar. We start off in Australia Down Under, which is coming up in just a jiffy, about 10-15 minutes time before we get into the scheduled Grand Prix. And Australia has always been on the ALR Formula One calendar, so it has never missed a season, and that carries on its trend then as well. And of course, a new lap record which was set last year. One of 4 races that had a new lap record in ALR, which was Troy of a 1:17.215. Of course, that's race record, not all-time record. Then, of course, we also had Kedza who made the all-time the new lap record in the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. We may not be seeing the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix very soon, and of course, it's off the calendar for 2026. Sadly, isn't it? Which is absolutely horrific stuff indeed. Then for anyone who is who loves that circuit, the Hungarian Grand Prix also had a new lap record as well, didn't it? With Chaza who got a 1:14, and of course Morris got a new lap record in United States as well. Of course, I'm not surprised by that. And of course, but anyway, yes. Let's go for the calendar. And Japan then hosts its 12th Grand Prix racing season. Bahrain back on the calendar after missing last season. Of course, with some of the randoms, some of the random wheel figures that Saudi Arabia making its 7th appearance, and Miami back on the calendar after missing the season. And then we've got the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix then making its 7th appearance, and Spain, like Australia, has never missed a ALR season. And 13th Grand Prix. Canada also on the calendar as well. Austria and Great Britain missed last season, then, but back on the calendar, and a welcome return as well. Spa-Francorchamps also on the calendar, as well as Hungary. They have never missed a Grand Prix season. The Dutch Grand Prix making its 10th appearance on the calendar. And then we got Italy. Italy also round 14. Azerbaijan was off the gold calendar last season, but is back on it. Back on it for this season to make its 11th appearance. And USA in round 16. Sao Paulo Grand Prix, not the Brazilian Grand Prix. Round 17. Las Vegas, and only its third appearance on the calendar. Qatar making its 5th, and Abu Dhabi making its 13th. And sadly, of course, we have missed. We've got Portugal anymore. We've not got China either, which is a crying shame, isn't there? And of course, we had Monaco for a number of seasons now, which is absolutely disgraceful as well, isn't it? But anyway, enough about that. Jazz, let's get on with the show. Then no, I can't get on with the show yet because I got to talk about the driver lineup, haven't I? Which is not good. I gave myself about half an hour, and I'm still behind. Then goodness me. Luckily, I've got 14 minutes then, so I don't have to keep yapping away. Knowlesy then, good luck for all season. Good luck all for season 13. Much love and pray for me. Laugh out loud, of course, for Alexander. Evening at Red Bull's number one driver, says Sirius Mushroom. Absolutely, I almost swore there. Evening all. Let's go then. Alex top three then. Petition for China, says Delano, not Delando. Anyway, then of course, let's get on with the drivers and get on with the drivers' championship, shall we? No, let's go on with the grid first. Of course, 100%. No, it's not 100%. It is realistic there, as you can tell. Good stuff indeed. Of course, a typo and all that jazz, but never mind that. Make China great again. Then there are for Serious Mushroom and Young Lights also coming to as well, but unfortunately, I've pre-recorded this, so I cannot stand on ceremony, Mr. Wayne. Of course, there are the runners and riders. And as Serious Mushroom said, that absolutely, I'm basically like Max Verstappen in the realistic performance this season. Looking forward to realistic performance making its return then. Of course, and the admins there, which is Coop as in soup, and Percy will be admin up that championship as well. Looking forward to that. Of course, they are them two, the two new admins, and also the brainchilds and behind some of the innovative, new ways of racing in the realistic performance on Wednesday nights, of course. So making a return after a season off as well. I'm not going to make any predictions, but let's be honest about it. It has to be Ginger Rage, and for the title, I would hazard a guess then. But there are all the drivers as well. Now, of course, it always the realistic performance then, which means that, of course, the McLaren is the fastest car, and who's the slowest car? I don't actually know. Anyway, let's go on with the grid. Bronze 10. So season 10 for bronze and silver. Goodness gracious me then. I remember back when we first started or debuted back in Russia, I think it was many years ago. And thank goodness that we have not got RB anymore. It is Racing Bulls, Hungry Styles, and Jake the Slayer will be partnering up for next season, for this season, I should say, for the Racing Bulls. In the Mercedes, and Marsky getting relegated from silver back in action in bronze, and of course former runner-up then, and Goddard's making a step up from reserve to full-time driver. Winnie then, of course, former Grand Prix winner, as is Smithy Almighty then. Of course, Smithy Almighty is a three-time Constructors champion. That's a good, strong team for the Ferrari team. Red Bull Racing are up next then, with Real Ashton Army staying with the Red Bull team, and Duncan Dave and two drivers then. It's probably in the midfield madness, I would hazard a guess, and the Williams team. The returning Stephen Anthony, and of course Dynamo Dan, former runner-up in this category as well. Fantastic that team is then. Looking forward to that. Aston Martin and Reflections, unfortunately having a difficult season in silver, but returning to bronze then, where he finished third a few seasons ago. Rocket Lee, he could be an outside championship contender. He just needs that consistency, that magical word that we mentioned quite a lot. Liam then, of course, luckily hasn't got me on circuit this season, so much better season. And Vintage driving in the Haas team as well, but Haas will be happy to get his points on the board. McLaren Mercedes, San then, of course, who had half a season last season and with the McLaren team, be happy to have a bite of the cherry then. And of course, then on to the Alpine team then, and of course, Cirrus Mushroom and Mr. Elite will be driving for the French team. Sorry, I forgot. It's Jamie also making a step up as well to the McLaren team. Rosa Sky also making a jump up from part-time to full-time then, and you mad bro also driving in the Kick Sauber. Kick Sauber won two of three Constructors Championships last season. Dominating performance from the Kick Sauber team then. 20 past, I got plenty of time. Silver Grid is up next then, and of course Racing Bulls there. Also then we'll have Kai Dow and Gordo. Not a good season last season for Gordo then, whilst Kaidal also struggled as well. And so Racing Bulls, hopefully drivers can get some performance out of that car. Former champion of, first ever gold champion of ALR, Nigel, of course, silver champion as well. Dan, of course, the bronze champion. Mercedes up next then, of course, the runner-up from bronze last season is Luke with Jay Hinks as well. As Knowles said, 2 runner-ups from bronze and driving the Mercedes team. Fantastic. Ferrari is next. And in the Ferrari team, we have Riley and Irvine. Something's got a bit wrong there with the old graphic, but we'll pretend that didn't happen. Williams is up next there. Jenna, an absolute incredible driver, won the pound for pound fastest drivers in ALR. And Duke, potentially, I'm going to say it now, championship favourite. I would hazard a guess that McLaren, Mercedes, Markey and Mayran then, who is driving in the McLaren team. Then Alpine are next then with Mr. Raging Bull. That I reckon that there's going to be a breakout season for Mr. Raging Bull this season after struggles last season. Vessia with no Farf this season. I think it looks a bit healthier. Talking of Farf, there he is in the kick. Sauber then former third place driver then along with Camera Race as well. Farf finished third in the championship a few seasons ago. R2 beat run this race last season, didn't he? And Tori also, I think, in a shout for the championship contender for this season. Racing Bulls, no, Red Bulls, I should say. Kiki, Gino, got 2 of the quickest qualifiers in ALR, along with Coop, as in Soup, also driving in silver as well. Fantastic stuff indeed. And now on to gold then. Oh, gosh, I haven't given myself enough time here, have I? Oh my word, I'm absolutely sweating now. I haven't even got the cars out on track yet. And then gold then. And of course, this will be the drivers that will be represented here tonight. Immortal, runner-up last season, and Mumford then. And so Cal Immortal dragged the Racing Bull team to the higher echelons of the grid. Williams are next then, Constructors Champions the season before. Unfortunately, last season, difficult. Knowles, he remains with the Williams team then with Troy, I should say, former champion as well. Qualls had a Grand Prix winner in Canada a few seasons ago. Kaz, the newest Grand Prix winner in gold for the Red Bull team. Aston Martin, nameless, making the step up from from silver to gold then, was incredible last season, wasn't he? But did drop off towards the end then. Cam then driving for the Aston Martin team. Chaza then will be hoping for a decent campaign this season. Flippy, the silver champion then. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does. He finished 4th in his debut race for gold last season. Jamie Morrison has always been quick but lacking consistency. Can he get that across the whole board? Then Brabbit, can Brabbit, after his brilliant success of last season, step up to the top 3? Keza didn't really step up from last season after the season before. Some great through races, and Boxtel struggled last season as well. Mercedes, and there needs to be a comeback for both drivers. Delanda returning to gold then, but he did struggle in gold last time he was here. Menace finished 3rd in the championship last season for the Ferrari team. Alpine are up next then, and it is Nick Candish then, and Peas will be racing for the Alpine team. And then Kick Sauber, of course, the team that absolutely dominated with Sam Swift Ninja. Why change a winning formula? Dominated with legends there, will be driving alongside him then. And my goodness me. And who can stop Sam Swift Ninja then? Of course, in terms of numbers, Sam Swift Ninja is the 3rd highest winning driver in ALR Gold now with 24 wins. 4 away from Lucas Percy on 28, and a few more behind Emerson with 33 Grand Prix wins. But a 3-time world champion is Sam Swift Ninja. You can't really bet against the guy, can you? Because he is, what do they call it? He is on it like a car bomb. It's fantastic stuff indeed. That I'm knackered already. Goodness me. ALR season 13, crazy stuff. Hello and good luck. Says that Lights and glad to be here. Still been here since season 2. Of course, Abu Dhabi season 2 as well. For Young Lights. Hashtag make China great again. Good luck, says Goku. I'll get P1. That's the spirit. Alex Casanova as well. That is, of course, we are. Oh no, I've kicked me bottle over. As we are getting on with the show, then, which is good stuff indeed. But as we now start to kick off then the Grand Prix here in Australia in Albert Park, and it's what the drivers called. Well, they've been laser scanned or something. something now. So it's really cool stuff indeed then for the Australian Grand Prix. As you mentioned, then Keza made not Keza. Who was it that made the fastest lap around here last week? Last year, I can't remember now. But yes, we are here at the newly laser scanned Australian Grand Prix then, and doesn't it feel good to be down under in Australia again? The track is not as good as it used to be, I felt, then before the changes was made back in 2022 then, but there is Albert Park in all its glory. 14 turns around this beautiful parkland circuit then, and we got 4 DRS zones as well, so we are expecting an absolute overtake fest, and I cannot wait indeed then. Really cool stuff indeed. Oh, I'm knackered after that intro. My goodness gracious me, I'm absolutely shattered. But anyway, on with the show, because you don't hear about my health and all that kind of stuff, as I am now out of me slumber and ready to get going. Laser tracing, thank you very much, laser tracing. Goodness me. Right then, on we go. All this technical babble, goodness me, just stick a mic in front of me and that'll do me. Right. Finally, let's go, says Kaz as well. Sam should be made to drive with his feet, then, says Serious Mushroom. Good luck, Gold, says Kiki, then, trying to watch Gold and IndyCar at the same time, says Luke. I'm going to be honest, it's a bit difficult that we're up against IndyCar. I must admit, I'm really getting into IndyCar at the moment. There's a couple of things I still struggle with IndyCar, but I really am enjoying it. One thing I don't like about IndyCar is where the teams don't have the matching liveries, but that's just me. Rain in the race, says Young Light, said laser trace. Oh, I read that already. Penfest tonight, like it in pre-season, says Serious Mushroom. Sean, ALR, thank you very much, Equal said. And then we've also got some strange XP there as well. And Serious Mushroom's got our number 1 XP out there as well. Great stuff. Someone's changed their name. Absolutely disgraceful. It's Kami's changed his name, I think. Then shocking stuff indeed, which we've got changed my spreadsheet already, which isn't good. There's Cam out on circuit there. A difficult season last season. The race has been pure chaos thus far, Sean. Missing the Stormer. Where are they? So, I know where we are. We're in Australia. But where are IndyCar? I'm also trying to learn the tracks as well. If I got me sound on, I have indeed. But good stuff indeed. Yeah, I'm still learning the IndyCar scene. Then, but I must say, I am really liking it. I really am indeed. Because I've been also watching a bit of Formula E as well. Of course, Formula One's been on as well, whilst we've been hibernated, of course, in ALR. In terms of the stewards of ALR, that's not changed still. Of course, we've still got Knowles in the head admin of ALR Gold. Silver, I think, is Farf, and then Kiki, who's now stepping in for Smithy Almighty, who is moving out. As Cam there, goodness me, almost off the circuit there, but he's kept it on there. And you can see we've got a couple of brilliant new graphics there from EA Sports there. A big lock up there for Cam, then into the Brundle turn, then as we go out of turn 4 as well. And sweeping through turn 5 here at Albert Park. Fantastic. Already lost full speed back, says Young Lights Knight, said. Birmingham Cam now, says Serious Mushroom. Road America, 3 cautions in the first 13 laps. I love Road America. Absolutely. It is Road America. No, F1 raced in, was it Road America or Road Atlanta that F1 raced in the mid-70s? Incredible. So America's got a lot of really, oh my gosh, Aaron Cam almost off the circuit. Very close to having a spectacular incident. And here's Lights, already got technical issues. I haven't heard much about bugs and all gremlins and all that kind of stuff, man. So, but I must admit that I have been sleeping a lot, so that could be why. But unfortunately for Young Lights, already technical gremlins in that Mercedes. Young Lights is filling in for a Mercedes driver, which is not an ideal start. Of course, I think it's Boxstar. Sorry, it's not Boxstar. Keza is not racing tonight. Then, so Young Lights is stepping in for Keza. So as he just storms out of the pesky turn 9 and 10, and Keza in the comments there, which is good to see. No time has been set on the board just yet. Nameless out on circuit. We've got Legends in Kaz, who's out on circuit as well. I was spying with the Kaz has set the fastest time so far on board now with Lights, and I've been spying in the terms of the practice and the testing times there, and Kaz has looked pretty good then. Lights has gone third fast, the slowest of the time runner so far, just a whisker behind his teammate boxed out. Cam's going to have another fight at Cherry as well. Nameless out on circuit. Here comes Legends Ed, who has now joined a Constructors World Championship team then for Nameless. He has been getting better and better all the time, hasn't he, Nameless has? And I do feel that Nameless can he become a Constructors Champion for the first time in his career of ALR. That'd be great. That'd be cracking stuff indeed. That is Cam using a bit too much of the track there. Lucas Percy driving the Alpina. So Lucas Percy is not a full-time driver in the Grand Prix scene just yet. Then as Immortal, then who I think is going to be one of the closest challengers to is Morris is off the circuit. Then in the Haas car, issues out for Morris, and Delando also out on the circuit. I think that Percy could have been one of the closest challengers, but not in the full-time season just yet. On a race ban, Mushroom. Yes, indeed. Keza on a race ban after he gets in Qatar last season now. So that's why I thought someone should read the parish notes before I get going on this. But never mind. There we go. Good stuff. Already crazy on time, so there's Mushroom 15-8. As I was mentioning before, Morris is off the circuit, and here comes Lucas Percy, of course, second in the all-time win rankings in ALR Gold so far, out of turn 14. Used to be a 16-corner course, not anymore, across the line, and Percy goes full fastest there. 700 a second away from Young Lights About, who's back in the pits. Nameless is going at fifth fast at the moment. Nameless missed a couple of the final races, which potentially could have cost him a challenge to challenge this man here, Flippy, who is absolutely dug up all the record books in silver, but most of them anyway, with an incredible end of season. Won the World Championship, did Flippy, with 7 or 8 Grand Prix wins in a row. I can't remember that. Look at that helmet as well. That's beautiful. A lot of turning lock there out of turn 13. Going to be yanking this McLaren through 13 and 14. Coming up to the line as well then. But what is Flippy's first time? Here it goes. It's a 16-1. That's 6 passes there for the silver champion. We got Troy, a silver champion and gold champion in his previous, and of course 100% world champion as well, and Formula 2 champion for Troy. Incredible start. I don't think he won 100% actually, but Troy currently 8th for the moment. Mumford currently the slowest time runner so far. Immortal is on pole position by 4 tenths of a second. In terms of rule changes this season for ALR, which I probably should have mentioned at the which I probably should have mentioned at the beginning of the show, but you know me, I don't really go in a correct way. But of course the rule changes on, and of course no major rule changes stuff. But there has been a couple of rule changes in terms of penalties and stuff where I think that the admins did vote on whether instead on a 5-second penalty, you didn't race on when you get a 5-second penalty towards the end of the race, you can let your driver through instead, kind of figured all that kind of stuff. Hey guys, long time no see you from J Marks. Hello to you, J Marks. Great to see you. So these times are on wet setups. Rain in the race, maybe because not sure because of Cody's not driven in the wet yet. Actually, I think I've driven in the wet in my career in China not too long ago. 10 minutes ago, this qualifying session, as I was mentioning, qualifying then is just a single session these days in the ALR. We used to have the full shebang of qualifying 1, 2 and 3. Now all qualifying is just one single session, like old school Formula 1, if anyone was watching it in the mid-90s and early 2000s. Of course, we only used to have 1 hour, but luckily we haven't got 1 hour. We've just got 18 minutes of fast, frantic action. Drivers are not limited to laps either, unlike the old qualifying session where you was only allowed 12 laps. Basically, it was 4 hot laps then, and the other laps was in laps and out laps as well. A lot of the time as Kaza goes across the line to 11 passes there, a 5/10, half a second behind his teammate so far. Knowlesy's cut a corner somewhere, so he's had a slap on the wrist. Here's Mars for a second bite of the cherry as well. On board, not minutes to go in this qualifying session. Of course, James Morrison with the beautiful classic Indigo Star crash helmet. I love these crash helmets. Most important part of your repertoire. It says light rain with damp conditions. Have you done a career? You try hard, says the question. I must admit, I completed F2. I should have been actually, I'll say that a bit. I completed F2 within the week of getting the game, which I'm very proud of, but I must admit I have stalled a bit since then. I've been trying my hand at MotoGP 2 in the off-season, which hasn't been going too well either. Morrison going a bit deep into turn 11 there, but all fine and dandy so far. Into 13 and 14 as well. I'm sweating already. Of course, it has been very hot in the UK okay over the last couple of weeks, hasn't it? Because the weather gods knew that ALR was back in town then, and very much was turning up the heat of the weather. Like we're turning up the heat in ALR, and that's third fastest out from Morris, and he turns up the heat on the times as well. With Van Von and Immortal currently fast and second fastest moment. World champion and Sam Swift Ninja is out on circuit. Runner-up from silver last season, Delando is also out on circuit. Van Von is gone faster still in that Red Bull car. Menace Max has actually gone faster in that, and that's a Scarlet Red Ferrari. Incredible stuff from Menace. A lot of pole positions Menace has had that he has had. Hang on, let me get the old calculator out. Why do I need a calculator right here? Menace aiming for his 10th pole position, currently on 9 so far in his career, but only one Grand Prix win so far. Very much Charles Leclerc-esque types of wins to pole position there, and in the Ferrari as well, but hopefully he can shake that tag off. Here's Delando, massive lock-up into 11. We're going to see a lot of lock-ups in there today. Tonight, and of course throughout the course of the week as well, which of course is silver, bronze, and then next week then we will be also doing the realistic performance league as well. Exciting stuff. I got to buy a new controller actually because I broke my knob. Across the line there goes Delando, 12 fastest there, about 400 to a second in front of Delando. Once again, just like last season, it is very close indeed. Here is the world champion, and here's Samsung Ninja. Not just the world champion, he is a 3-time world champion. Samsung Ninja is the first driver in ALR history to win a championship on 2 different games in the same championship category. That is an incredible feat. Not even Granty and Emerson, 2 double world champions, didn't get that feat. Samsung Ninja goes 5th fastest there. Qualifying is not Samsung Ninja's strongest attribute. I love the Brabant's helmet. That's lovely stuff indeed. There's one thing I've enjoyed already is these helmets. They're fantastic. That's the most important part of a racer's attributes, isn't it? Brabant, 43.5 in the second sector. Look at that then. Point squirt and go, says Brabant does it in the Haas car. And before coming into 11 and 12. And it took too much inside curve there. Brabant did that, just spat the car to the outside, and Brabant would have lost a chunk of change then in terms of the time on the board, unfortunately. So Brabant is not going to be his best time with 6.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Up to the start finish line now, 15 fast. I think there's about half a second more in that car. Someone jumped up there. Boxall's now into 7th position. It was Troy in the Williams there, going 5th fastest. Williams finished last in the constructors last season, but with Troy on board and Nosey using his experience and pole position for Immortal, as of course Immortal had the most pole positions last season there, and he started off the season as he finished in the Red Bull Racing Bull car. Incredible stuff indeed there for Immortal. Immortal on 22 pole positions, and of course I think he's got the joint highest in ALR Gold at this moment, and could be the most pole position, the highest pole positions in ALR history, if I can get my words out. Can't go for another bite of cherry now then. I wish you could see the amount of tires that everyone's used there, but that might get away a bit of the game then, wouldn't it? I'm trying to work out what this XP is. Sam on slow guys is out on track, and up into 13 fastest goes Cam in the Aston Martin. Decent time now, a couple of about 2/10 of a second, a quarter of a second away from his teammate Nameless. Brabant in the pits there, but Brabant, I do think there's more in the time, more in the tank there. Equals down in 16th position, but lovely. Of course, the Lewis Hamilton inspired crash helmet. Knowlesy has not set a time just yet. Knowlesy a bit of a slow starter when it comes to Grand Prix racing in his last couple of seasons, and it's really the second half of the season where Knowlesy really much picks up. Then a car off the circuit and on board now with the 3-time Grand Prix winner out of turn 14, and DRS right on the money. The drivers are here and beeping their ear up to the line as well. Knowlesy goes 20th there and 16.9 there so far for Knowlesy. A bit off the pace, unfortunately. Troy teasing us and says serious mission. Immortal in the pits, Immortal on pole position, Menace alongside Catters in third position, Lee Dish in fourth there, the Alpine. Where's that come from there? In front of championship winning teammate Percy there in car 21. How dare he still one number, of course. But Percy then stepping in there in the Alpine, then as I think it's for Pete. Flippy now into 8th position. So really interested to see how if he does that, because he looked very good at it. What with the car in his only gold appearance a few last season, which was where was it? Actually, I think it was in Qatar, wasn't it? It was in Qatar. He actually finished third. I apologise, not fourth in Qatar. Goodness me, sure. 3 minutes ago in this qualifying session. Equals Neil pace for Equals. So Equals a bit concerned about his pace so far. Down in 18th position now. This because it's a new game. I've only captured this is a new game. I was expecting the grid to be slightly topsy-turvy, maybe against the form book. But having said that, it isn't too far away from what we expected, I suppose. Max and Yuki says Equals on board. Goodness me, don't sell yourself short, Equals. On board with Morris, and don't worry, Equals. I don't think Christian Horner is a part of the driver lineup in ALR Gold, so you're safe for the time being. Coming out the final corner down, and here comes Morris on board now with Morris in the Haas car, and of course Grand Prix winner, two-time pole sitter as well for Morris. But of course, a good season last season for Morris. Of course, he's finished 7th in the championship in season 9, 10, and 12. And so surely Morris will be aiming for a lovely helmet. It will be aiming for signature or higher this season. But I think that Morris is not going to be concerned about getting into the top 6 of the championship. I think he's going to be more concerned about getting wins and potential challenge for a championship. I would say it's a clean slate at the moment when Suarez gets out of the way. It's a clean slate at the moment. So I feel that anyone in this grid should surely feel that they can win the World Championship. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. Half a tenth per second up on his previous best for Morris. He's in 11th position, more than the half Ferrari. Of course, with that Toyota sponsorship, which is interesting stuff indeed. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone. John and Yoko. I don't really know. Is that like as in John Lennon? How the final turn there as I'm trying to keep up with serious questions. Trendy catches as Morris goes 8 faster. I'm sweating already profusely. Maybe because of this tank top I've got on. Don't worry, I've got a tank top on. It looks like I've got a tank top on now because obviously it seems to fit my arms anymore because I've been giving it. I haven't. Wow! Oh my gosh! And Kaz is off and into the wall! Oh my goodness me, that's his qualifying session over with, but the amount of speed that Kaz took into 9 and 10, and that almost came off, but that was quite a frightening incident for the Red Bull driver. Yeah, he was too greedy on the inside curve there, tried to catch the slide, but unfortunately it took him to the scene of the accident, as Martin Brundle normally says. But that was incredible commitment. Troy just about to start his run. Here comes Samsung Ninja then. Here's the world champion then for Samsung Ninja on board now with the triple world champion, I should say. I'm selling the man short then. Samsung Ninja, who has rewrote the history books in ALR in the last 3 seasons and stepping foot into Grand Prix racing. Samsung Ninja has won the championship in the last season, the season before, and the season before that. And he's got a monopoly on championships at the moment and going for a 4th world championship. Absolutely stunning stuff indeed then. Cautious about the pit stop strategies. 1 or 2 stops as Stephen is asking. I must admit, I am looking for Morris out of qualifying now in 8th position then, so not too bad there, but Morris is not going to be able to improve it. Here is Sam now locking up the inside tyre there into turn 10, I think it was. Nope, make that turn 11 short. And who's that then? Mumford is now into 12th position there. Kaz has finished this lap there as Aston Martin. There's an Aston Martin in front of us. I don't know who it is. Up to the line now, then comes Sam Swift Ninja across the line then for the world champion, and that's pole position down under in Australia, a 15-1 then, and he is very much in touching distance. Menace goes far fast in the end there. What about AC Immortal? 1,000th of a second down there. Lockup up. There's a lockup in front of us here. Kaz is down to 4th finisher. Lights to left finisher. Brabant's into 13th there. Legend is down in 17th finisher. We're on board now with Immortal. It's not enough. Sam Swift Ninja on pole position then for the Australian Grand Prix. Percy's invalidated. Bogstow's invalidated as well. What about Flippy, the Super World Champion, then locking up the inside tyre? They accelerated out of 13, coming out of 14 as well. There's a car in front of us then. Dirt here on these cars have been minimised, but there's still a lot of dirt here. Then Flippy across the line. Flippy goes 8 fast in the end there. Incredible stuff indeed. Delando into the pits. So Sam Swift Ninja, pole position for the 9th time in his career. And wow, maybe he has found an Achilles heel too. Maybe his weakest part of his game, which is 1 lap pace there, even though it's still impressive. Sam Swift Ninja, pole position, number 9 of his career. His first pole position of the season. Of course, this is of course the first race of the season for Sam Swift Ninja. Then I'll be impressed if he got any more than that. But Sam Swift Ninja, pole position, number 1, and he starts the means to go on then. Sam Swift Ninja, 4400 second in front of Immortal. Menace in 3rd, Van Von 4th, Neat Candish in 5th with Percy 6th, Troy 7th, 8th is Flippy, Morrison 9th, and Boxall in 10th position. That is the top 10 of qualifying. Just looking down there, there's Lights, Mumford, Brabant, Nameless, Cam, Dilando, Legends, Equals, Knowlesy, and Chazza. 1.57 separates the whole of the field. Once again, it is so close here in ALR Gold then. Goodness gracious me. Invalidated, says Lights and Scraps, says Sam Swift Ninja, the biggest sandbag in history. Equal said, wait, what, Sam? We got a bit of rain on the horizon as well. Goodness gracious me. Of course, talking of rule change as well, actually. Now, I say there's not been any rule changes, but then I'll start to list them out, haven't I? But of course, the rule change as well, and the points for bronze has now been changed out. They're still for the top 15 get points set, but of course, first now gets 30, while second gets 22, third gets 19, 16 for fourth, fifth on 14, 6 gets 12, 10 for 7 for 10, 8, 7, 6, and all that kind of jazz. So good 70. By the way, it was Troy who got the lap record around this circuit at the moment. So I'm wondering if he'll be able to. You're going to break it up because it's rated, as unfortunately there for Troy, which I don't think. Whether he's unfortunate or not, I do not know. But Sam Swift Ninja on pole position for the Australian Grand Prix then. And new game. It's not a new era though, is it? Goodness me, because it's still Sam Swift Ninja on pole position. It's 9th for his career, and actually maybe Sam Swift Ninja may have found something in the off season which has really might have found his feet then. But let's go through the grid. All on intermediate tyres. Has light rain, and very similar to the F1 race around here this season actually. Nameless got an issue down in 14th position in the Aston Martin, and he's on the grid already. To us, one thing I would like to see improved on this game, if you don't get away on the formation lap, then you have to start from the back of the grid or in the pit lane, but that's because I'm a harsh man. Sam Swift Ninja, 9th pole position of his career. Second position is Immortal. Third position is Menace with Kaz. I'm wondering if Kaz could have got pole position if he had found some pace there. 5th position is Neat Candish with Person's position. It's an all Alpine row 3. Remember though, that Alpine can only score 1 driver because Percy is not a full-time driver. Troy in 7th position with Flippy in 8th there. 9th position is Morris with Boxdown in 10th there. Only 1 Mercedes can score as well because Lights is not a full-time driver either in 11th position. Mumford in 12th with Brabant in 13th position there. There's a big old gap there between Brabant and Mumford. I wonder if that's a bit of gamesmanship there from the Haas driver to make sure those tyres get cooled down before the start of the race there. Nameless issues in the Aston Martin. The second Aston Martin right behind his teammate on the grid in 15th position for Cam there. 16th is Dilando. I love these chrome helmets, fantastic. Legends in 17th position. 18th position is Equals. Equals had Sadie strong for pace in that Red Bull car, but it's a difficult car to drive. We've seen from Yuki and Liam Lawson and Sergio Perez and Pierre Gasly and Alex Albon and Knowlesy in 19th position, and 20th and last is Chazza. So it has to be last today. It is Chazza, unfortunately. Just fine. Yeah, let's do this then. I will still get no points, so the change doesn't affect me. Them inters will mount, says Cirrus Mushroom. I must admit, I am going to be very intrigued because there has been a lot of chatter about tyres, tyre wear, which is standard stuff because that is the limiting factor in F1 these days. It's all about tyres, as of course it should be, as those are the 4 contact patches on the circuit. Right. Here we go then, and the start of season number 13 of ALR is about to get underway in a very wet and wild Australia. 4 lights, 5 lights, and we are go down under in the Australian Grand Prix, and they all get away very gingerly. Kaz already up at the front finish there. Sanchez Ninja keeps the lead with a Malta in second finish there. As Menace on the outside, he's been hung out to dry. There's contact between the Red Bull and the Ferrari there as they all get away. They're all away, I think, extremely gingerly, but they are away, and they're going in a forward motion then, down into the Bradwell turn as well. Troy is up in position, Morris is up in position, no he isn't, he's down now, and he's down into 8th position there with Flippy in 9th position, Bucks out, keeps his position with Lights there, and whoa, there's a bit of a swirl on there from Mumford, but they've all got away. Foul down, they haven't done his contact, it's Delando who's in the wall, I think, of the Ferrari. Oh goodness me, and unfortunately that is damage to the Ferrari, I think it is, and it's looking up slipping inside, and there's cars all over the show here. Mumford is lost out majorly, there's no DRS, and because it is deemed a wet circuit, Bravitt on the inside of the former runner for the World Championship boxed out, and Bravitt's going for the inside into turn 9 and 10. No, he's lost out. Contact between the Red Bull. Equals on the outside. He's up 6th position. A fantastic start for the Red Bull driver. Incredible. And Equals is now into a 12th position. Look at this. Cam loses time. He's dived on the inside. And he's going down there. Bravitt. He has gone on the inside of Bravitt. And there's contact then as Bravitt trying to strong arm Cam out of the way there. But not doing so just now, and then so Bravitt's back on the inside, but Cam will have the inside for the final turn. He does. He is through it up in 40 minutes, and that one complete. Soundship Ninja's a second and a half in front of the rest of the field already. Wow, incredible stuff indeed there for Soundship Ninja. We have got Bravitt having an almighty scrap that no one is coming to the pit yet, but we've seen a bit of end play at the exit of 5 and into 6. Nameless, I think, oh, that's a tap with the wall. I think it's Nameless who might be in trouble as well, as he has dropped right to the back of the field so far. The top 5 have not changed position then, but after that, it's absolute anarchy in the mid part here. My goodness, gracious speed as they come through the car park as well. Legends has got an end plate. Delando has not got an end plate. I don't think Nameless has either in the Alpine, in the Aston Martin. Oh dear, some damage there for both cars. My goodness gracious me, there's not any spray, but I'm not sure if that's the game or if that is just how it is. Just like that. having a sniff. On board now with Young Lights in 9th position. They got past his teammate Boxer, who's dropped out of the points at the start there. Philippi's also dropped down 2 positions. Wow, feisty. Steve and Hemsworth's going to have no points by lap 9, which might be a blessed and Nick Candish has dropped down to Troy. It's now up into 5th position. Troy looks strong in the pre-season testing, but you cannot get anything from testing. Soundsurf Ninja is absolutely flying, but he's lost a second on this lap alone now. So I'm going to be very much as what do you young kids call it? Rinsed. May have rinsed his ears across the line now. Morris is now in 6th position there with Nick Candish driving down to 7th. Both Alpines are falling backwards at the moment. Their cars are not looking too happy on these very damp and greasy conditions. There's the Red Bull of cars. As Cars in 4th position, I'm getting very close to. It's a person there is flipping the bird at Lights there as he was trying to squeeze Lights. Lights is going to go on the outside and he's going to take 8th position now. Lights there is forced his way through past the former champion. And now Filippi is also feeling that Percy's on the back foot here. Percy's down 3 positions there. Lights up 3 positions. Jamie Morris up 3 positions as well. Those are the big movers there. But Equals is up 6 positions. Fantastic stuff there for Equals. Incredible stuff indeed. Trying to hold on until dry for wing change, says Serious Mushroom. Do you think it's going to dry up, Mushroom? I reckon it will actually. It's very light rain, isn't there? Of course, the weather forecast is never accurate then, but is it ever accurate in real life? I'd probably disagree, because there was one time I should have bought a coat at work and I didn't. I got absolutely drenched. I looked like a drowned rat, a ginger rat, maybe a hamster. I was saying on the last lap, the Sound Swift Ninja lost a second. Well, he's gained that second back already in this one there. Sound Swift Ninja leads, Immortal in second position. Menace Max in third. Just watching Menace now, and I say it's going to ease up, but actually from that camera shot, that looks quite heavy there, doesn't it? Yeah, defo would dry, says Serious Question. Sound Swift Ninja, they're fastest up for the race. Absolutely stonking so far from the three-time world champion. The triple world champion is very much started as he left off in last season. Incredible stuff indeed there for Sound Swift Ninja. Immortal currently holding up Menace Run in the top three of last season, also the top three of this season. Wow, incredible stuff indeed there. So yes, even though the game's changed and there's been a lot of change in the off season, well, more things changed, the more they stay the same then. They're on board now with Menace, and goodness me, that car was, I thought, oversteered a bit there, but Menace doing a good job. On board now with the 9-time pole sitter then. Of course, I'm surprised to say this, he's only got one win so far, but he's catching, but it's not catching enough, but the catfish is going to be... It's going to be feeling a bit hot and bothered from Lights, who's absolutely flying up there in the Mercedes at the moment there. But Nick Candice keeps that position, keeps the Alpine in front of the Mercedes. My gosh, Lights almost having an instance similar to Kaz had in the qualifying session there. Up the inside, Lights is on the inside. I thought he was going to turn the steer to the side of the Alpine. Great car control there from Lights. Incredible stuff indeed. Dry line 4 minutes, slowly says Gina. Up the inside goes Lights once again, and the Alpine is gone wide there, but he is on the dry line. Yes, you can see it now. Gina, great eyes there. And now the final turn there. Sound Swift Ninja is out 3 seconds in front of the rest of the opposition. Incredible. Lights there as Nick Candice cuts across Lights as we go into turn 1 there. Oh, goodness gracious me. No DRS! No DRS, thank goodness me. You can barely decide. Barely decide where the Alpine ends and the Mercedes begins. And look at this, that's the Mercedes will be in the Mercedes power will be at the back of the Alpine next year. Well, goodness me, they've all got that engine early, haven't they? But Lights is on the outside. There's going to be contact. There is contact. Lights slides, but he is through and in 7th position there. Well, very feisty indeed. Nick Candice has now lost out majorly, and Percy's on the outside. And Nick Candice, they're thrown on the inside. Percy's been hung out to dry, and Flippy is through and up into 9th position there. Flippy does. Goodness me, and now it's a Mercedes, a box ton. It's just had a glancing blow at the wall. Well, it felt more like a glancing blow. That was an absolute smacker there, wasn't it, there from boxed out in 11th position. Goodness me, it's just on board once again now with Flippy. So Flippy is looking strong at this stage, isn't he, there? He's dropped out of position, but the silver champion is now starting to find his feet, find his tyres in this Grand Prix. Well, you can see a dry line is for him, but it does feel like it's getting heavier. Equals, who had a difficult qualifying, but all of a sudden he's having a much better race there. But he has got a very tinted visor there, so that's not going to be helpful, is it? 4.2 seconds. Sound Swift Ninja is just waltzing away at the moment in this race. Goodness me. Feels like the Schumacher era, doesn't it? Albeit without the kick salver, of course. The last 2 seasons without the kick salver before they come the Audi team from season 15 of ALR, which I'm looking forward to. And also we'll have the Cadillac team in F1 as Stop Pointing Alpine or Osaki, says Serious Question, are part of the Alpine joint constructors this season. So Serious Question then, of course, is the de facto leader of the Alpine team effort there. I must have the Alpine has got the beautifulest of views. Beautifulest of different. Just on board now, first down in 10th position. No DRS still there, as I mentioned in the build-up. We did have 4 DRS zones around here, but sadly for some drivers, the DRS is not a factor. Whoever drivers out there will be quite happy as I've gone past someone as it was Morris. Who is Kaz has dropped back. One of Kaz may have had a bit of damage there from the open exchanges of the Grand Prix, or is he just struggling in these conditions so far? Lap 6 out of 29 here. Also race so far, so Stephen A. absolutely is behind Sound Swift Ninja. His action everywhere, of course. Sound Swift Ninja's in a different postcode. I think he's in Adelaide. As Troy is all over the show here, as getting his wheel on the grass, and that's going to let Morris through. It has let Morris through. Mistake there for Troy, and Morris is taken on very gratefully and is now up into 5th position there. But he have lost a second there to Kaz. I think the Kaz will be happy with that because he can now start to focus on in front of him, then having issue, then looking behind him and driving in his wing mirrors. Crossover is strange on this game, says Serious Mushroom. It'd be interesting to see what the crossover is then, as well as do you wait for the DRS there? Is that Legends is now up in the 15th position as I cycle through all the drivers, but not for long, because Mumford is back up the inside. He's got up the outside, is he? He is, but Legends is still through, shows him a wheel, and is back into 15th position there, as they have dropped off the back of Brabham ever so slightly, but yes, as you can tell, Mumford there in the back end of the car, the back end of the car is sliding. He is off the circuit, and Chaz is through up in 70th position there. Mumford's dropped down into 19th, on board with Chaz now in the McLaren Mercedes. As look at this, and as I thought he was gaining there, but he's on to Lando in 16th at the moment there. Back with Lucas Purcell, who's keeping Flippy honest at this moment in time there. So Serious Mushroom says the crossover is straight then. So it'd be interesting because normally you wait for the DRS, don't you? Then come in the pits and change into the slick tyres. However, as that Samsung Ninja said, no last time for racing. Gracious me, as that Samsung Ninja, of course, since he stepped foot to the ALR, he has been undefeated, isn't he, in championship winning terms. And I think he wins in every one in every 2 races he wins as well, which is an incredible win rate there for Samsung Ninja. Only problem with Samsung Ninja on days like this is that we don't get to see him on stream, does it? Because he's in a different time zone out there. Goodness me. When DRS is enabled, sometimes it's still too wet, says Serious Mushroom. I quite like that, let's say, because of course it gives drivers, instead of just coming in the pits when it's dry or when the DRS is enabled, then it gives drivers a much more thinking and whether what the correct strategy is and all that kind of stuff. Ginger would have pitiful drives by now, says Luke, that is on board with Menace in the Ferrari. And to be honest, to me, it does look like the brakes getting heavier. It looks very dark over yonder, doesn't it? Goodness me. Menace are keeping a wall company at the moment there. As I beat these 2 drivers and who hoping to dethrone Samsung Ninja. Percy's got the first penalty of the season, and it's a 3-second penalty for Lucas Percy at the very fast turn 9 and 10. I think that Menace and Immortal are going to be a bit shell-shocked by the pace of the world champion here, because Samsung Ninja is just absolutely waltzing away there. And of course, we talked about IndyCar earlier on then, and it's very similar to Alex Palou in the opening stage of the IndyCar, because I think that Alex Palou, didn't he win every race almost, didn't he, apart from, I think Carl Kirkwood won 1 or 2 races, but Alex Palou was dominating recently. I'm not sure, I think he crashed in the last race of the race before. It was the race after the Indy 500. As you can tell, I'm not very good with the IndyCar yet. I'm still learning. I'm a bit of a noob so far. Can't see Inter going the whole race. Rookie mistake there on Lucas, says Delta. So Delta not too impressed with Lucas's with Percy's with Percy's penalty. I said, hey, goodness me, put your teeth back in. Lap 9 out of 29 here, about 1 further way through this Grand Prix. Mumford Nameless has passed Mumford. Mumford is struggling at the moment out there. It's been a very difficult race for several drivers out there. And I think for actually 19 of the 20 drivers, I think it's going to be a bit shocked by the pace of the world champion. My goodness gracious me. In the testing and also in the practice sessions and leading up to this Grand Prix, there's some mentions about Troy, there's some mentions about Immortal, there's a couple of mentions about several drivers, but Samsung Ninja's name did not appear. Samsung Ninja, another fast lap. He is dominating out there, Samsung Ninja. 7.6 seconds in 10 laps. That is ridiculous. My goodness me. Coop, Percy got double warning on one corner, says Coop then. So, of course, that can be reviewed then. Into the pits comes Nolte. And I think that the rain is actually getting heavier now, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think it's getting lighter. So into the pits, and I think that there's no other option but to surely go on to another set of intermediate tyres. Only downside, they're going for the undercut, Nolte and Mumford is. but of course that means that those tyres may start to stroke towards the end of the race. And so, whoa, it's Knowlesy. Look how slippery it is coming out the pit lane there. Knowlesy almost over that yellow line there, which would give him a penalty. Luckily, though, Knowlesy had expert car control. Mumford also having a couple of issues there, but these drivers have come into the pits early, and I reckon that they are going to trigger the pit stop potentially on board the Keychains. New season of rain. What's this? Says ALR Esports. Sam does need to. Someone does need to be someone. Stephen Anstey. I think he does, doesn't he? I think that I'm not sure, but I think that I think he is absolutely flying out there, isn't he? Goodness gracious me. Incredible stuff indeed. Farf isn't even hosting, says ALR Esports. It's a Farf lobby. I think that Farf will be hosting a lot of silver from that one, which is unfortunate for the silver drivers because they're going to get a lot of wet races. Goodness me. So Knowles then is going for the undercut, as is Mumford as well. No retirement so far in this race. It was a bit feisty in the opening stage of this race, but apart from that, it's been very clean as always. So Flippy has now started to eat into the lead of Nick Candish, and Nick Candish is also getting closer to Young Lights as well. One of Young Lights who was very quick out of the blocks in the opening stage of this Grand Prix is now all of a sudden starting to drop off in terms of time then. I might be speaking absolutely on my rear, which if I was, it'd be very muffled because I'm sat down. Young Lights then is wonder if he burned for his time. So I haven't said that he's gapped Nick Candish by a second. So it's Flippy's on the march now. The only McLaren in the points of the march. Only 2 points for the McLaren Mercedes team then. Of course, the second most successful constructor on the grid. I think they are actually the most successful. But they also goes with the very fast 8, 9 and 10 chicane there. I've got to say that all the drivers are so brave getting over those curves. And of course, back in the old days, if you ever touched the curve like Damon Hill did in the 1995 European Grand Prix, effectively in his World Championship, of course, accelerates on the curb there and hit the wet patch and went into the barrier and out of the race end. Of course, in a very damp Nürburgring that day there. Williams back in the thunderstorms in silver, says Stephen there. Language, says Serious Munch there. As the Serious Munch still got the #1 crown. I don't know what that is there. But if it's leaderboard, I love a leaderboard. Back on board of Menace, who is now starting to really put the pressure on them all. So these two are fighting for second in the World Championship. And at this moment, then, of course, you cannot gain anything from one race in Grand Prix. But I would say that Sound Surf Ninja, this is a very untraditional circuit in Australia, but Sound Surf Ninja looks like that he's out of touch. He's out of touch with distance in this race, absolutely. Maybe a safety car might throw a curveball here, but here comes Menace out all over the gearbox, going this way and that way on the racing ball car. The Ferrari that is, the Ferrari then, can he get past? And no DRS in it, but he's going to go on the outside. Is he? No, he isn't there. As a multiple comes across the nose cone of the Ferrari and keeps into second position. The morning is fine though. The morning Kaz Van Von might get himself back into second position. He dropped off in the opening stage of this Grand Prix, but it's starting to come back onto the back of these two, fighting for second and third in the Grand Prix so far. Number one commentator, Sean yes, let's we'll strict that into the pits. Comes Menace now, and so he's the first of the top rows to pit. Then, of course, he got slowed down into the pit lane speed limiter, into the pits now. Another set of intermediate tyres of half distance in this race. Also, Cam and the Aston Martin is also into the pits as well. Lovely shot here from the number 2 Ferrari coming out of the pits now. Excuse me. Nosey and Mumford are too far back. There's the Constructors World Champion in the background there of Legends coming out. There's a problem for Mumford, and Mumford is crawling. He's been up the circuit, and it is very dull out there. I reckon that we're in for maybe that's a nose cone change from Nameless as well. I reckon he also overshot his mark, so the Aston Martin team were having to pull him back there ever so slightly. Not the greatest of starts then. Not as great as the starts then for Nameless, but he's coming out the pits now. Delta, I think Cam could get a good undercut, says Delta, but that was before he had to change his nose cone now. Nosy, though, has had an undercut there. As Percy, as we've got a lot of fighting going on here. I don't know who to look at. Let's look at Flippy. That is all over the back now of Percy. Percy's back in front of Flippy. Has Flippy made a mistake, or is he just chewing through those tyres a bit too much there? The question I've got is, surely... Oh, excuse me. Look at that. They are, as Lights down in 6th position there, as Nick Hand is down in 7th, Percy 8th, and Flippy in 9th position there. As these guys now starting to feel the pain of these tyres into the pits, and so we've got all rushed at about half distance in this Grand Prix. As Nosy is the second driver with the distinction of getting a penalty, but we've got a lot of drivers into the pits, and Flippy is now in 3rd position, chasing down Percy. Boxhouse in 4th, Brabbit in 5th position, and Morton coming to the pits now. Where is that Ferrari? That Ferrari is skating down, then the skating down, there he is, and the Ferrari is up in the 6th position. That is the undercut power. He has 1 lap more older tyres, though, and look at that. Immortal's had a bit of a difficult pit stop here because Kaz is all over the gearbox of the racing ball car now. But of course, no DRS and in these wet weather conditions, so Kaz are going to have to go the old-fashioned way and very much do an old-school overtake. Morris in 9th position, 10th is Troy. Chaz in 11th position there, but he's on very old tyres, which means the Light is getting a very painful lesson in traffic here. But Light has done umpteen races in this in the Grand Prix race scene. So sadly, Light's probably felt the pain of traffic before. As Kaz has dropped off the back now, so I think he's not going to drop back ever so slightly. Light has through past Chaza, who has not pitted yet. O'Drive's has not pitted yet. It's the top 6, and into the pits comes the racing of Sound Swift Ninja. To be honest, Sound Swift Ninja is could have waited another 2 laps really, because he had such a decent gap then over the rest of his rivals. But Samsung Ninja, the world champion, the race leader, into the pits now. Percy has stayed out then. So Lucas Percy has stayed out. Here comes Samsung. He's going to be out in front there. That's incredible, isn't it? So Lucas Percy then is going to go into turn 1. Isn't it? These 2 rivals, they were fighting for the championship back in season 9. Oh, sorry, season 10. And now Percy. Oh, it all Samsung Ninja Percy getting very close then. And of course, Lucas Percy then would love to have a big fight with Samsung Ninja, but sadly he's a pit stop behind. Cameron's at the fast stop of the race. Brabbit also staying out as well. I'm wondering if those drivers are going to be goal hanging, as they call it, for a safety car. Back and forward with Bangkok. Thank you very much then for the gifts from ALR. Fantastic stuff. Sam is allowed to pit, make it more exciting then. Sam needs a few injection cuttings. Goodness gracious me. He's absolutely dominant in this stuff. Incredible stuff. Half distance is 3 on lap 15, not 20 half distance, but we'll that's the best I can do really, as that's as good as my math. Troy then currently in 8th position behind Morris, so the only drivers that have yet to pit in this Grand Prix are Percy and Brabbit. In terms of the drivers that came in early, that was Mumford, and Cam's got a 3-second penalty sadly, and Knowlesy, they've got themselves up to 15th and 18th position, but I think that they were too far back, weren't they, to really make an end speed in terms of this race at the moment, unfortunately. Into the pits comes Brabbit now, so Brabbit's had enough. So the rain stopped, then chance to get us some penalties as well. To be fair, it's a very low amount of penalties out there. Very impressive stuff indeed. Brabbit into the pits for the Haas car. Lights to set the fast up the race head. So far as they're starting to get these tyres up to temperature now in this one. Brabbit then will be coming on the pits, and he is out of the pits now and should get himself in front of Knowlesy. He does indeed. Those couple of younger tyres may be paying dividends in this race. Cash just clipped the wall there, says ALR Esports. God, someone's paying attention, because I completely missed that. Back with Kaz at the moment. Morris is about a second and a half back, with Troy following, and then Lightsu lost about a second when he was stuck behind, I think he was stuck behind Chadza, I think it was, unfortunately. So Lightsu is in 8th position, the Candidate in 9th, Cam is in 10th position. Go for an early stop, which means he jumped Flippy, Boxtel. Equals is up to 20 minutes. A much better race than it was qualifying there from Equals. On board of his teammate at the moment, which is Van Von in 5th position. Van Von potentially could have got pole position, but made a mistake at the corner he just in there through 9 and 10 for Van Von. But Racetrim he just looked a step behind the likes of Molto and Menace. But having said that, in this last in this second stint in this race, he has started to become a major problem for Molto in the battle for second position there. But you can see at the moment Menace has got second position as he undercut, came in the pits a lap before his rivals, and used those fresh tyres to get the grip and purchase and to set the track purple, which means he was fastest out of everyone out there, and got up into second position. Now it's waltzing away from Molto because the gap is at the 3.4 seconds there. So Menace is absolutely flying now at this stage of proceedings. Places haven't really changed. Good luck with driver of the day, says Sirius Metro. Well, I think that one the driver of the day so far has to be the Grand Prix leader, the world champion, the triple world champion, I should say, in the form of Sam Swift Ninja. Has been absolutely dominating since stepping foot in that King Salver, and it could be another season of domination after Sam Swift Ninja. But let's not count our chicken yet. And of course, this racetrack is not like all the rest of the race circuits are. Of course, after this, unusually, this time next week, we'll be going to the land of the rising sun in Japan, which I'm so used to saying that Japan is normally the back end of the seas, and Boxtel is alongside Flippy. No, yet he's almost inside Flippy. He's got on the outside, but Flippy there, who gives him just about a Mercedes car with nothing more, nothing less from the silver champion. They're still in a 12th lap position there, but Boxtel is quicker, and he's being held up. And look at Equals there, from routed to the 9th row of the grid. It's now all of a sudden, love the helmet. Fantastic. But all of a sudden, Equals could snip some points here. In front of us, we do have a couple of drivers with penalties. We've got Percy and Cam with 3-second penalties. Also, other drivers out there with penalties. There's Nolte, Legends, and Chazza. But they're all in the second half of the grid, second half of the field at the moment. Just back on board then with the racing ball of Immortal, who is trying to fend off cars, and now Morris is also in the vicinity as well. We're going to have a bit of a train now behind Immortal with Morris and Troy. I'm wondering if Immortal's just tuning up those tyres in that racing ball car, which now the sister team of the Red Bull of cars would probably like to be waved through here, but that is not how things work here in ALR, is it? You've got to fight for every position. Of course, and sometimes even if against your own teammate as well. But anyway, going back to the calendar, of course, Japan's next week, which is very unusual. Of course, Suzuka is normally the one where we have crowned champions, of course, in Formula 1 history, the likes of Ayrton Senna, Alan Prost, goodness gracious me, Michael Schumacher, Mika Hakkinen, goodness me, Sebastian Vettel in 2011. As Max Verstappen in 2022 in that very unusual race, so Boxer's got a 3-second penalty, and that is going to hurt him for his quest for points in the opening round of this championship. The only time that Japan has been this early on the Formula 1 calendar was in that fateful season of 1994, but of course that was in the AIDA circuit for the Pacific Grove. Of course, that race, we only ever had 2 races around there. Of course, around in 94, and then of course in 95. Very short circuit that was. I didn't like the second goals. And Van Von there has got a 3-second penalty, and oh dear, that's going to drop him beyond Morris. Troy lights into 7th position now for Van Von, and he's going to be kicking himself with that back on board with Morris. So Morris could see 4th position right in front of him. This is a great drive here from Morris. Of course, he does do well in the circuits not in Europe, especially over in the Americas. We're on the opposite side of the world tonight. Boxhouse through, he's past the silver champion as Flippy made an error potentially because he's lost a lot of momentum. And now Equals are on board of the Red Bull driver all over the gearbox of the McLaren. And goodness me, as you can see, those tinted visors are not probably helping in these very dull conditions here in Albert Park, but I've done a bit of driver's light. Glad there's not many horrible black visors anymore, says Serious Mushroom. Damon Hill. Oh yes, Damon Hill as well in 1996. How can I forget that? One of the best races ever, especially for you as a Damon Hill fan. So I think that I'll be able to continue to remember that race. It's a great race to watch on YouTube. If you ever have a spare Sunday or Saturday afternoon, it's Sunday afternoon. But I'm trying to catch up with the Formula E stuff, but I think one race behind. I can't remember, was it Jakarta they're at now? Something like that. And look at that, I think the Flippy's just struggling with tyre out there, and I think Immortal's got the same problem now. I'm wondering, it'd be interesting to know what's happening to those tyres. They overheat them, are they just wearing out too quickly potentially in this race? It looks like it, because look at the gap. Because Cam then, whoa, as Cam moves, they've got 3-second penalty, almost lost there. Percy is right behind Cam here in the Aston Martin. Can't get through at the moment, of course. The lack of DRS here tonight, I think, has of course, hurt the overtaking. Into the pits comes Mumford. Mumford into the pits in the race of ball. Keep going on RB now, did I? Going to change on to those set of intermediate tyres. He has indeed. Then with just 10 laps goes. That's a two-stop strategy for Mumford. A lot of drivers out there who probably would like to take that second strategy. I think they're going to lose too much time, surely. But Mumford, yellow flag as what's happened. Mumford having an issue coming out of the pits potentially. Percy's through, passes Cam, and that's very early on the straight there. So Cam is lost out, and through goes Percy, and up into ninth finish there. That is a lot younger tyres. Equals is also through, passes Flippy. Flippy is falling down the grid like a stone now. There's issues, I think. I think those tyres are gone, but they've only done 5 laps. And Equals has only done 6 laps, 1 lap longer, but the McLaren team just look absolutely at sea. Unintended with so much water on the track and in the sky. Sam Smith is flying, says Duke then. Flippy as a DHL Albert says Dude. I like that, it's beautiful, isn't it? That would have fitted absolutely beautifully in the 2002 Jordan, of course, when they sadly dropped all the snakes and shark heads on the nose cone, didn't they, that season? Which is such a shame then, because the Jordan car used to be one of the most beautiful cars on the grid. And Knowlesy into the pits for the Williams. It's been a bit of a miserable day for Knowlesy and Mumford as well, going for a 2-stop strategy here. The Williams mechanics into the pits as well. 2 stops are not usually the way to go on as previous seasons in ALR. But this might be a new way of racing the ALR. Then, of course, more stops, more action, more fun, more drama. That's what we like to see. Van Bon then, who is still trying to fight with a multiple, but currently no dice. And we're going to stick with Brabbitt, I think. Brabbitt is now starting to. As long as he's got a 3-second penalty, the penalty's starting to rack in there with 9 laps to go. Brabbitt then, who's also got very young tyres, and then he's also catching up to Flippy. Flippy is just falling back in this race, sadly. I think it might be the tyre wear. I think it's the tyre wear, I'm surmising. Unless he's got some kind of drama in that McLaren that we are not aware of. But Equals are trying to skip ahead. Equals currently, I think, is he on course for points? He's barely in the points, isn't he, now, if you have those 3-second penalties together. So in the top run, it's going to roll the dice and come to the pits. Menace is now 5 seconds in front of Immortal, who is in purple position with Kaz in 4th. 5th is Morris, and then Troy has lost a second and a half in 6th. Lights in 7th with Nick Candish in 8th. Percy in 9th. 10th is Cam, that's the top 10, but that is not including the penalties. 11th is Boxtown. 12th is Equals. On board with Flippy in 13th position. Lacking pace in Flippy. I think that Flippy's really struggling. 14th is Brabbitt with Legend in 15th. Delando 16th. Chazza 17th. Nameless 18th. Knowles in 19th. Mumford in 20th. No retirement so far on lap 22 out of 29 here. So very good something. We do lack a lot of retirements in recent years in ALR. It's been pretty impressive stuff, hasn't it? Goodness gracious me. He has it over you and Mars aren't even friends. So there's much of loves to stir at the pot. Just on board now. And Kaz, I think, is now got a new lease of life, potentially with the bit of deployment in this battery, and going to have another go at Immortal, who is very much holding up then the rest of the field then. So you can see, but Kaz having a horrible sideways moment out of turn at 12 there. 11, so that's not ideal at all, is it? So we were surmising that the rain was going to start, but that's not been the case at all. I kind of wish the rain would have stopped here, because I do like a wet, dry kind of race there. Sorry, just singing to myself, but I used to speak to Jeremy Morris in 2019. He's still an icon. He absolutely is, and currently in the 5th position, and currently going to be in 4th position there with the penalties. It's going to be added on to Van Bon at the end of this Grand Prix. But Morris in 5th position, but they're driving this superlative race there. Potentially outside chance of podium as well. Troy is now starting to come back at these drivers, and Lights. Oh, problems. What's happened? I think that I don't know. Was it someone's gone off? I'm not sure who's gone off, Ben, but on the pit straight potentially. Oh, it's Legends there. That's a wing problem there for Legends in the kick Sauber. And that's going to have to be an extra pit stop there for Legends there. As Sam Swift Ninja's now 14 seconds up the road. This is one of the biggest winning margins in ALR history. Goodness gracious me. Absolute domination out there. Fantastic stuff indeed there, Delta. Great commentary, bro. Keep it up. You're very good. I absolutely appreciate that, Delta. I wish I could say great then, but good, great. He didn't even say great, Sean. Really on there, kid. I wish I was. I'm surprised you can understand this, and I'm absolutely worn out as well. I've got a big old sweat patch on me back. And also on my rear posterior as well, which is why I'm stood up now. Flippy is dropped down into 14th position. He's now, Rabbit's passed him as well. I'm really interested to know what's going on with Flippy's pace, because he was quick and qualified. Same with Immortal as well. I surmise that there's issues with the tyres. Surely there's issues with the tyres there. Of course, we've got a wet race, haven't we, to start the season, which is very interesting. We've had wet races in the past at the start of the race. I'm sure in season 4 or 3 we had a wet race, didn't we? I think Knowles did a wet race, didn't they? After some safety car Fracar who's on board with Morris. Well, Sean, bigging yourself up there. Absolutely. I'm not going to be able to open the door. And that's mainly because of my big thighs on the outside. Box tail through. Up into 10th position. Cam down into 11th. Cam would have struggled to stay into the points, mainly because of the penalties got anyway. But I think it was the lack of pace as well, potentially, which is Cam there almost losing it there. Luckily able to keep the car in the straight and on the straights and narrow there at the moment. So we've got a pole up there. We've got a pole at the moment there, which is good stuff indeed. Then of course at the moment the pole is Sounds of Ninja, Immortal, Morris and Menace said out there at this moment in time. Then so good stuff indeed for the pole at the moment. There's just watching. Oh gosh, how do I turn that off? Sorry, excuse me. How do I turn this thing off? 1 second. Let me get rid of that. That's far too big. I wish I heard that. On board now with on board now then. Sam's a Ninja Driver today. I've gone to Jamie. Sam's at 1 enough. Says Serious Much. It's getting very, very condensed now, isn't it? On this in this Grand Prix, just back on board at the moment with Jamie Morris, who's currently in 5th position, currently also winning driver of the day as well, with 50% so far. Lando. Cam, who's dropped down to 15th, but just made a pit stop. Lights also made a pit stop as well whilst I was fiddling about on my pole. Fiddling about on my pole. Lights down with the 13th position. It's just made a pit stop. Me, Candice has lost out there to Percy. Mumford's got a 3-second penalty. Five laps to go in this Grand Prix. Township Ninja on 16.4 seconds. Is absolutely dominated out there at the moment. There's Township Ninja on course to win his 25th Grand Prix in his 52nd Grand Prix start. That is redonkulous in terms of the start there. Incredible stuff indeed there. Impressive and just on board now. Once again, as Immortal is probably frustrated a lot of drivers out there. But look, Menace has lost a lot of time in the last couple of laps or so. He has dropped, he's lost a couple of seconds. There is Menace, but I think that Menace probably might be cruising to the end now. Into the pits comes Troy. I think it's too little too late. I feel that these drivers coming in the pits and probably this is far too late. I think in the race that Williams mechanics are going to work. That also tells me that I reckon that the Williams are too hard on their tyres. Is that going to be a sign of things to come in this season? Williams finished last in the Constructors last season. They didn't look too bad in qualifying, but race true at the moment. And Troy is, did he cut across that yellow line? I think he did that. That is going to be frowned upon, surely. But Troy knows every trick in the book. But I think the lights is going to be frustrated with that because Troy came out of the pits and just slammed right in front there. Yes, he did. He's cut the pit lane. He cut the pit lane line to get in front of lights there. I have a feeling that I have a feeling that that is not going to be looked upon with too much fondness there from the stewards. Jamie's through, Morris is through in number 2, fourth position there. He's past Van Bon. Whilst we was looking at the Troy and Lights battle, now Morris could potentially be on course for a third position. Cliffy's got a 3-second penalty, struggling on there with 3 laps to go at this Grand Prix. Sam Swift Ninja leads this race and on course for his 25th Grand Prix win in 52 starts. Morris is flying out there now, then back on board with Morris, a Grand Prix winner. Then of course says, well, look at that, he's fighting the car. Oh, goodness me, the car just wants to slide, doesn't it? But Morris is now in full position and currently on course for driver of the day as well. Just superb stuff indeed as go down into turn 1. My word, as this is good. I think it's starting to kick off here. So now here comes Lucas Percy, and of course former champion, and stayed out for an extra couple of laps. Is now all of a sudden found himself up to the back of this battle for the podium. Can Percy, who has been very shrewd on his tyres, is now all of a sudden got himself younger tyres. He needs to get past Cas pronto here, as Cam's got a fastest lap bonus point. Of course, he's still got that fast lap bonus point, even though Formula 1 dropped it for some unknown reason. You fill it with your pole. Oh, wait until later, says Sir. It's great. Nameless got a 3-second penalty. Percy is in 5th position, passes cars, and moves himself up to 5th with just 27, 28 and 29 to go. This is the man on the move now. What a drive so far from Lucas Percy. Brilliant stuff indeed. Absolutely mega driving here from Lucas Percy, and currently on course. Can he be on course for a podium here? It might be a bit of a stretch, but let's see how he transpires. Just fighting with the car and then Percy's, but he's already up to the back of Morris. Morris has lost a second there to Malta. Morris is in the pits. So Morris in the pits, and goodness me, with just a handful of laps to go. What's going on then? Has he got damage? Has he got a puncture? The Haas mechanics already, they're running out now. And I think that I'm wondering if the tyre wear is too great. Then he's into the pits now. Lap 28, 29 here. He's coming out the pits, and I reckon that some drivers are pushing intermediate tyres too much there. And he's coming out the pits. Troy is through, and he's going to be out in front of Lights. No, he's not. Morris has lost out majorly here. Into the pits comes Cam. Oh dear, oh dear. Wow, and now Percy's out in 4th position, and of course he's got 3 lap younger tyres in a Mortal here. This is getting very interesting. Jamie look, just hit the wall. Oh no, did he? They didn't change his front wing, did they? Or did they? Gosh, I'm out of I miss everything, don't I? Shocking stuff indeed. Sean, watch the TV. I'm trying. Goodness me. Troy all over the back now. Equals, he isn't. He's past Equals. Troy back into the points on that 28 out of 29. Incredible. Still got all 20 drivers. Still circulating. I don't think Morris changed his front nose, though, did he? There he is now. I was surmising that there's issues with the tyres, but perhaps I am absolutely speaking out of my rear, which is nothing unusual. I do it quite a lot, to be honest. No back end, says Serious Pressure. I wish I had no back end. Goodness me, I look like the Red McGowan. Oh, that 29 out of 29. I think that, as you can see, then we're coming down into the final few corners of this Grand Prix now. Lights is off the circuit, and we've just cut to Lights there. But I reckon did he pull off a movement with some day late and $1 short potential? But Lights down in 30 minutes. I think he might be feeling a bit aggrieved. I think there might be some chatter after the Grand Prix about Troy and coming out and cutting across. And I don't. Is that even in the rule book? Surely it is. Following that drummer, watch the space, laugh out loud, yellow flag as one of the Aston Martins is crawling. It's Cam. Cam has got issues then, as just watching Sam Swift Ninja, who is on course to win his 25th Grand Prix of his career. In fine style then, as I'm just on board now with Sam Swift Ninja. This has been absolutely incredible stuff there from Sam Swift Ninja. Lights the flag, one of the most dominating performances in history of ALR Grand Prix racing. Sam Swift Ninja wins the Australian Grand Prix down under. Fantastic stuff indeed. Percy's up into 3rd position, and just as the ALR admin said, then Percy has some scrape through and up into 3rd. And what a driver. We've got yellow flags again. And who's it for? I think it's for Lights, and he's got issues. But Percy's going to be on the podium. Menace second, Percy third. And, well, he was third, but he's back down to fourth now because of the penalty. Van Von, and now we've also got Nick Candish through as well. Yellow flags out there in the final couple of corners. And what's happened then? Lights is Equals. Equals in trouble. I think Equals has he run out of fuel. And Noel as Lights is through. But Equals has run out of fuel there. But he's in 13th in the end. Goodness gracious me. But I think that all the drivers that have finished this race, all the drivers have actually finished this race. Incredible stuff indeed there for all the drivers. That's mega stuff. Impressive. Sam Swift Ninja, 25th Grand Prix win of his career. And, well, start as you mean to go on. That is Sam Swift Ninja also wins Driver of the Day with 46% of the vote, 33% for Morris, 13% for Menace, and 6% for Immortal as well. 2020 was a start. Well done, Gold. Says ALR Esports. Coop as in soup. GG guys as well. Or GG fellas. Oh my gosh. Oh, and he's even got his front out as well. Fantastic stuff indeed there. As brilliant stuff. But Equals has also got a 2 next to his thing. I want to know what these 1s and 2s are. Van Von got a puncture in the end. So that's how close they were to the limit there. But hats off indeed then. Really enjoyed that race. GGO says Lucas Percy. Let's take a final look at the... Oh, what's this? Oh, fantastic. I love that. As you can tell, I haven't been online. This is Sam Swift Ninja won the race and fast lap for Cam. That gets that bonus point. I need to add Rabbit as a friend there as most overtakes for Boxstar. Cleanest driver for Menace. The final classification. I love that. Final classification then was Sam Swift Ninja Grand Prix winner, 25th of his career. Menace second. Immortal third with Percy in fourth. Neat Candish in fifth. Van Von sixth. Brabbit seventh. Boxstar eighth. Troy in ninth position. Morris in 10th position. 11 for Flippy with Lights, Equals, Knowlesy, Delando, Mumford, Nameless, Chazza, Cam, who got fast up, and Legend in 20th and last position there. Very good stuff indeed then. Incredible stuff. Right, where's my poof? I need to sit down and get a swig of water then. Good somebody that Percy reckons that he can get his penalty removed. So all of you Percy fans out there, hopefully that's the case, and he could be on the podium, which would be fantastic stuff for himself and for Percy and for the fans out there. So really cool stuff indeed then. Absolutely mega stuff. That race was brilliant stuff. And the ALR season 13 is underway. Brilliant stuff indeed there. That was... I've got a real sweaty pair of pants, which I need to, which I'm going to have to take off, I think, because yes, I'm not going to bed enough. Maybe I should actually have a bath, and perhaps I should do that, to be honest, shouldn't I? There we go. Good stuff indeed. Am I in the right party? I am. I am in the right party. Good stuff. Right. GG Rabbit and Cam getting fast as lap. Good race indeed. Absolutely is. And of course, got no retirements either in the opening race, which is absolutely fantastic. Quick plug for tomorrow then, because I love a shameless plug. Nothing else like that. It is, of course, tomorrow is silver then, where we're back in Australia. Hopefully we'll have a bit of sunshine tomorrow. And then, of course, on Tuesday, it is going to be bronze as well. Hopefully a bit more sunshine as well. Of course, that is the inventory for this week in ALR. And Sam Swift Ninja starts the season as he finished it with a Grand Prix win, his 25th win of his career, leads the World Drivers' Championship once again. Of course, the 3-time world champion, aiming to become 4-time champion. Fantastic stuff indeed then.